Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here with special guest star Sharktholomew. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you wonderful people. Aw, thanks, Sharktholomew. Now, you ready to talk about some games? Boy, am I. I've been playing games since I was a little guppy, and let me tell you, Wait. Something's wrong. Sharktholomew, are you okay? You look a little green behind the gills. No, it feels like I'm being controlled by someone. Someone who shouldn't be here. Someone like me! God damn it, Damian. What are you doing here?
I decided to, for once, crash the little party of a show. I want to be in the spotlight for once. I'm tired of being, the supporting character, the laughing stock.
Okay, fine. But did you have to be so mean to poor Sharktholomew? He was so looking forward to being on the show with me.
He's not gonna mind.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Anyway, want to kick us off with our intro?
Oh boy, do I! The 90s were an exciting time to be a gamer. While video games were definitely around well before then, the decade was still coming to grips with what gaming was actually going to be. A fad that would disappear, or a staple of our lives that would continue to expand and enter everyone's household.
Well, it's obvious what the answer is now. It wasn't so back in the day, and many people were quick to dismiss video games as children's toys that would never be anything more. And we're here to count down those children's games with our top 10 individual favorite video games from the 90s. Kicking things off on my list, I have a game that most 90s kids are gonna remember very fondly, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4: Turtles in Time. Imagine it. You get taken to your local Discovery Zone, or Chuck E. Cheese, or whatever the hell you had where you lived. You're eating pizza, waiting for your chance to go play. What will you do first? Go through the jungle gym? Play the various games to win tickets? Ball pit? Fuck that shit! You know you're gonna go play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade machine! And while I can't include that version on my list since it released in 1989, I can put the Super NES port. Finally, the joy of playing TMNT at home. No having to put endless quarters in because I sucked at it. And truth, the reason pizza became my favorite food at the time was due to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles eating pizza all the time. Holy shit! Child brainwashing at its finest. No wonder I'm horribly obese. Oh, okay, I probably would be so regardless.
Kids, remember that time you had those little toy soldiers, the little green plastic little men, army men? Yeah? Well, did you always want to imagine what life would be like if you played as one in an actual video game? Well, guess what? PlayStation has fulfilled that dream for me. And Army Men 3D. You get to play as, guess it, the little plastic green army men going up against the tan army. And boy, did I enjoy that game so well. You had tanks, you had rifles, you had explosions. This game was bloody, but bloody terrific. I am the darkness that looms in the shadows. I am the duck that wants all your bread. That's right, I am Darkwing Duck for the NES. That's right, kids, Darkwing Duck, the Cape Crusader here to fight crime, but in a little 2D little fighting side-scrolling platform game. That's right, Darkwing Duck. God, that game was so amazing. The show was too, both of the game. You go against Monty Moriarty, the Aquanator, or Liquidator. Either or, it's a dog of water! The game was so fun that I can play it again, and again, and again, and again. But let's get dangerous.
Moving back over to my list, at number 9 I have Aladdin, or more importantly, the SNES version of Aladdin. Little known fact about me, Aladdin used to be my favorite Disney movie as a kid. I was obsessed, to the point that my friends and I would get together and reenact parts of the movie, each taking turns playing the various parts. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we were cool. So with all that said, it makes sense that when the game came out, I would play it. And play it I did. This is one of those games I would beat and immediately start over again just to experience the adventure. Last year when I talked about my favorite movies of the 90s, I said that I loved when films made me feel like I was on an adventure. And video games were the exact same. As long as I felt the journey and was taking in new sights, I loved it. And Aladdin definitely made me feel those things. Now, Damian, I know your family probably never got you a SNES for Christmas, so you probably had to play the shitty Sega version. But let me tell you, the SNES version, dude, was fucking hands down the best version.
No. I've compared both versions, and Sega has better design, has better graphics. It's more smooth-like.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it definitely made your top 10 then, huh? Oh, it didn't, huh? I did, but the SNES made my top 10.
Well, that's because there's so many other games.
Oh, yeah, so many better games, right? Than the Sega version of Aladdin.
But there's so many.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Go play the SNES version, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here from Damian. Now, a rule that I imposed on myself for making this list is I was only going to include one entry in a series. And the reason for that is so that the list isn't dominated by all the Mario games and all the Legend of Zelda games, because they would definitely take over. I mention this now because my next entry is in the Sonic franchise. And which one is it going to be? Sonic Adventure. I know. With so many better titles from the franchise to go with, why choose Sonic Adventure? Well, because it was cool.
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Okay, it's a little bit dated now.
Can you slow it down there and see if there's anything that actually you're running into?
It's just like when you hit the wall. What the f- Jesus Christ, man! This is unacceptable! How do people defend this game?
This is a retroactive outrage!
Oh my god!
No!
What the
It's pulling
hell?
you towards it?
Whoops. Oh, no. Okay. Well, there we go. Oh, Jesus. I'm up here now.
And broken. Okay, look, I'm not saying my list is going to consist of great games. These are the ones that I just happen to love, regardless of their quality. And that's not to say that I didn't like the previous Sonic games, but it wasn't until Sonic Adventure that I found myself really enjoying the franchise. Being able to see Sonic interact in an everyday setting, going on adventures, talking to friends, it gave the world a very cohesive feel. For the first time, I could visit the places in his universe instead of just being warped to the next level. And I really dug it. And while it's easy to make fun of now, I did consider Sonic to be cool at the time. He was no longer that pudgy little hedgehog. He had this attitude about him and a swagger that made me really excited to play as him. Take that for what it's worth.
Bow, bow. Bum, bum, bow, bow. Ah, yeah. I remember that theme song so well. I'm talking about Croc, the Legend of Gobbos. Or Gobbos. Gables? Gobbos. Imagine playing Crash Bandicoot. Imagine playing Rayman, and then putting them into one. And then you get a crocodile named Croc. That's right. It's a side-scrolling, 3D, 2D-ish. It's a game that I hold close to my heart. Why? Because of the song. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I know you're all thinking, oh, he's not like Jan. He doesn't talk about his games because he's not a real video game reviewer. It's like that's true. I'm not. All right. I'm only here to crash his show. So I'm gonna tell you why. Because of Kirby. You know what he did to my Kirby little plush doll? He unwrapped it. Which brings me to my next game, Kirby's Adventure. Ah, Kirby. Always swallowing enemies, taking their powers, fighting DDD. I'm sorry, King DDD. Don't get mad at me, Penguin. Haha. And always doing good for himself. That greedy, stubborn, little insecure little pink puffball. And I love him so much! But Kirby's Adventure is a good game. It's a fun game. You get to stop DDD from, oh my god, taking all the snacks? That's the wrong game. No, you get to stop him from taking the Star Rod. But there's a big plot twist around it. But I'm not gonna tell you about it. Play the game yourself. Kirby's Adventure.
You know, it's funny that you would mention that Unwrapped Kirby,
Yeah.
because we have another special guest host, the Unwrapped Kirby! Welcome to the show, Kirby! Oh yeah. See, he's happy to be free. Unlike you that was keeping him suffocated, mint package, more like death package.
It's called collection! It's called collecting!
You're collecting their corpses. Kirby's unhappy with you. My next entry is from a series that I always pray that we see another installment every single year. But alas, Ubisoft is a bunch of fucking bastards. I'm talking about Rayman 2: The Great Escape. I usually don't try to 100% games, even when I was a kid. And while that means I'll never be able to take the reins of the completionist, I just never saw the point of playing a game to the point that you're absolutely sick of it. Naturally, there are a few exceptions to this, and one of my earliest attempts that I remember is with Rayman 2: The Great Escape, a vastly different game from its predecessor. My excitement for this entry is in the same vein as Sonic Adventure. There was now a cohesive world of Rayman I could explore, where I could interact with the other characters. Similar to Sonic, Rayman also went through a transformation that made me see him in a new light and got me excited to play as him. And unlike Sonic, it wasn't a giant buggy mess that I can remember. Also, why was Rayman not in Smash Sakurai? What are you, anti-Rayman? Huh? My next game is one that I actually didn't play until I was older. And I'm really glad that I did, because if I had gone into it as a kid, I definitely would not have been able to appreciate it as much as I do now. And that's Final Fantasy VI. The Final Fantasy series was never one that was on my radar as a kid. It actually wasn't until the release of 10 that I started taking notice and began appreciating the series. About 10 years ago, I decided to begin the daunting task of playing and beating every mainline entry in the franchise. Up until 6, I thought the series was fine. There were some good entries, there were some not good entries, and ones that were definitely dated. When I got to 6, which I knew was the favorite of many, I was interested to see why the title did so well to warrant such praise. Lo and behold, I was very pleasantly surprised with everything. Not only did it look much sharper than all the other titles thus far, despite all the games coming out fairly close to one another, but what it accomplished with all of its elements was truly fascinating. The opening with the mechs walking through the snow, the opera scene, the end of the frickin' world, Celeste throwing herself off the cliff, good lord, and hands down my favorite antagonist to date. I know most people prefer Sephiroth, but let's just be honest, Kefka is the one I'd rather not meet in a dark alleyway, or in a light alleyway, or at all. It also helped that the game's soundtrack slapped hard. Mix all those things with a great combat system, a shit ton of playable characters, and you've got yourself one hell of a Final Fantasy entry.
Your games. Opera, Final Fantasy. I can beat that. Mario Brothers 3. Now that's a game and a show. Get it? You don't get it. But it's the next installment of the Mario Brothers. A beautiful game. Another side-scrolling piece of art. Get to fight the Koopalings. Not the Koopa Kids, the Koopalings. The Koopalings. Get to fight Bowser. Get to save the princess again. And again. And again. It's in another castle. We get it. She's useless. But the best part of this, you can play 2 players. Not at the same time, it's more of a competition. 1-on-1. See who can beat the game first. And my God, would I always lose. You guys watch anime, right? I watch anime. I'm not hardcore on it, but I like watching anime. And that one anime that keeps coming back and back is Gundam. Why? Just do one little series. You know, you have Gundam this, Gundam that. Well, have you heard of Gundam side story 0079, The Rise of Ashes? From Ashes? It's Gundam, okay, for the Dreamcast. Boy, did I love that game so much. I will play it over and over and over again. Just because of the combat system. It's so, you have your little rifle, you get to shoot them from afar, and then you get close, you automatically take out the sword, and it's combat. Oh my God. And that last boss fight. Woo! You can feel it, the pumping, like ching chong, ching. You have, it's a very good game. It's better than the anime. And yes, I said that. Gundam side story 0079. Rise from the ashes, of the ashes, from the ashes. And it's better than the anime itself.
Whoa! Now, as a kid, I didn't really pay much attention to game developers. They were just names that showed up at the beginning of a game, and you just didn't really pay that much attention to them. Of course, as you got older, you started to associate those names with great pieces of work or games that you're really not looking forward to. I mention this because the first time I really paid attention to a game developer was Naughty Dog. And the game that I associate with that one is Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Naughty Dog was definitely my favorite developer for a long time, before they turned evil. And the series that began that journey was Crash Bandicoot. I could easily place that first entry here, but the one that I definitely spent the most time with was Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back. While the first one has those unfairly difficult moments, Cortex Strikes Back was a more polished experience. It also introduced us to new great characters like Coco and Polar, interesting new levels like jetpack flying through frickin' space, and once again, I just thought Crash was a cool character, which I felt more in this entry than the first, where he really just came off as goofy. Now, I guess I could put Warped here instead, but I never really gravitated towards it like I did with Cortex Strikes Back. But I will mention that Crash Team Racing almost took the spot, so special shout out to that entry.
Okay.
At number 4, I have an entry from the Donkey Kong series. But which one to pick? The fantastic number 1? The exceptionally excellent number 2? The fun number 3? Nope, it's Donkey Kong 64. I know. How could I put this collect-a-thon fucking mess in here instead of the other entries? Look, I can't help it. As a kid, I gravitated towards games like this, and I loved every minute of it. Plus, I believe the collectibles were well tailored to their characters. And speaking of characters, I really liked them a lot. I know it's easy to make fun of Langy and Chunky, but I really did care for them as well as a kid. And I liked the reworked versions of some of the other characters too, like King K. Rool's Dr. Claw-like character, or how Funky now sells guns. Stupid? Yes, incredibly so, but as a kid I thought it fucking kicked ass, and there's really no changing my mind on that. Plus, once again, it gives the world a very cohesive feeling, and I loved traveling to all the different places.
Well, we've reached number 4 of my top 10 favorite games. But let's be honest, it's really the top 4 you care about, right? Right? It's always the top 4? Yeah, whatever. Speaking of 4, if you add 3 to it, you get 7. And if you get 7, you think about it as Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, Cloud Strife. Better than this guy's Final Fantasy VI.
screw you, man. You don't know what you're talking about.
I know everything I'm talking about. Let's go into details. Cut the shows. Final Fantasy VII is one of the best RPG games out there. A long, trivial task as you play as first-class soldier Cloud Strife, as he travels with companions of a bartender, mercenary-ish kind of big guy, a ninja who likes to steal from you, a talking dog, and a vampire with guns. Wow.
I think you're missing some characters. Wasn't there like a thief ninja and like a Moogle that joined you as well?
As I was saying, Final Fantasy VII puts you in the shoes of Cloud Strife. Not really, because you don't want to be in his shoes, but you get to feel the pain he feels. Get to see the trials, the torment, the confusion he has to deal with as he travels to take on the one and only best, number one, greatest villain of all times, better than Kefka, Sephiroth. Hit the song! Anyways, Final Fantasy VII is one of the greatest RPGs out there. And if you don't believe me, Square Enix, who made the game, you should give it a try. There's no words for it. No words. I know what you're thinking. Why would I put Final Fantasy VII number 4 and the next game number 3? Well, let me tell you a story of how my life became upside down when I met this tiny little yellow tank named Tiny Tank. Tiny Tank is one of those games where you were like, WTF, a talking tank? What? And then you realize how badass he is, shooting robots, taking gears by the belts. Oh my god! And his commentary, his conversations that he has, the little cutscenes. I can't. Jen, come here. You gotta come here. I can't. This game is so
Stupid?
I was gonna.
A talking tank?
It's
A waste of everybody's time?
But it's not. It's an actually very, 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 very good game to play for the PlayStation. You get to play as a yellow tank.
I see.
You have to shoot from his nose,
Right, that's what you do.
because of the cannon.
And he talks.
And he's rude about it too.
Oh, wow.
And he's trying to fight. He's trying to kill this robot, and he's trying to take down the company and the robot. And it's just a really good game.
Oh.
It's just,
I see.
I can't explain more about it.
I see.
I mean, you've been showing the clips, right?
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
It looks terrible.
I mean,
But hey, man, as long as you like it.
yeah, play Tiny Tank for the PlayStation. Number 3. Yeah. Top 3. Yeah.
Well, after the failure of Tiny Tank, we come back to my great list with my number 3. And number 3 for me holds a very special place in my heart because it is the first game I ever played. And that's Super Mario World. 3 years old, Christmas time, I get a Super NES from Santa.
Whoa. We are not gonna have a flashback of you being a fat little chubby kid.
Hey. That came later in life, okay? All right.
Did it come later or did it come after you became fatter?
You know what? That's fat shaming, Damien. I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And besides, Mario was fat, so suck it, Damien. Fat people can have good games too. So yeah, Super Mario World. It was a game that I just absolutely fell in love with. And it's another one of those games that as soon as I would beat it, I would start over just because I wanted to experience the adventure again. And keep in mind, I wanted to know everything. I tried to do all of the secret levels, all of the secret paths, and this was before the internet was so prevalent, so you had to figure that shit out by yourself, or come across other people that have played the game and they tell you if they found something. So to me, it was truly magical to have discovered pretty much all of the secrets that the game offered by myself. And I still, to this day, go back and play it just because it is a very special game to me and one that I will love for the rest of my life. Super Mario World. If you haven't played it, you really need to go back and do so. It's one of the best Mario games of all time. It's one of the best games of all time. So after all that praise I just threw on Super Mario World, number 2 and number 1 have to be fucking amazing, right? Well, to me they are. And at number 2, I have Banjo-Kazooie. Do you remember going into Walmart, into the game section, and they had those demos at the time where you could try out games? Well, that's how I was first introduced to Banjo-Kazooie. And I gotta say, the first time I saw this, I was like, what the fuck? A bear and a bird in a backpack? What the fuck's the point of all this? Little did I know the magical time I was going to have. After just one session of playing it at the Walmart, I immediately ran home, told my mother to please buy it for me. She went out, bought it for me, I played it, and I kid you not, it is a purely amazing game and means something very special to me as well, because this is the only game that my mother actually saw me playing, was so interested in it that she sat down to play it as well. And she doesn't do that. She's not a gamer. She doesn't play games. So for us to have this connection with one another through this game is truly something that's special to me. And so for that reason, and just for the game being so fucking awesome and enjoyable and fucking great soundtrack and great characters, that's why this game reaches my number 2. I know, buddy. I feel it too.
That was the most embarrassing thing you could have said.
What? No, it's beautiful. I share a connection with my mom.
What have I got?
Oh, speaking of demos, oh man, that was funny. So embarrassing. Speaking of demos, when I got my PlayStation, I was just, what game am I gonna play? Then my mom, who I love and knows I have friends, got me a demo of games. Now listen to me. Now before you start judging, I was like, oh, you do the same thing, Damian. No. On this demo was Crash Team Racing. I don't need to tell you guys how awesome CTR is. That's right, CTR. I didn't say the whole name because if you say CTR, you are awesome. You know what I'm talking about. You are a veteran of the racing game of all games. It's almost, no, not even, I might even say almost, it's better than Mario Kart. Okay? Except Double Dash. But I digress. Now, CTR, get to play as Crash, Dr. Neo Cortex, Coco, Polar! Oh, Polar, my favorite character of the whole franchise. He's so cute and lovable. Get to play on multiple tracks. Some tracks you've seen, some tracks you never done. It's like, oh wow, that's a track? Wow! But wait, I gotta tell you this. Okay, but Crash Team Racing. There's an adventure mode and oh my god, there are boss races. Now I know it's been done before, but let me tell you, these boss races, man, Ripperoo, the Komodo Joe brothers, but the skinny one, not the fat one, the skinny one, not the fat one, the skinny one, the skinny one. Papu, Pinstripe, but Tommy Gun. Well, he don't use it, but the Tommy Gun. Those races, those bosses, they were so amazing. Each track so different from the rest. I can't tell you how ace I was in this game. Like, if I was to play it right now and challenge anyone to it, I'm happy to say that I will win possibly 89 to 100% of the time. I was ace at that game. I'm gonna let you all know. Come at me. But don't come at me, but you know what I mean. CTR, number 2. That's right. That's what I said. It's been a long day. I remember back when I was a youngin', and, well, I always wanted to go fast. I want to be that blue blur I wanted to speed through town like it's nobody's business. I wanted to jump high and beat that egghead man like there was no like he didn't own anything. I wanted to be Sonic the Hedgehog, the very first Sonic the Hedgehog for Sega. You know, the one with no tails, no knuckles. And Eggman? Oh no, he wasn't Eggman back then. He was Dr. Robotnik. This was the first game I've ever touched. This was the game that turned me into a gamer. This was the game that said, hey kid, you can be awesome too. And I'm like, alright Sonic, you know what, you're better than Mario, let's do this. And so I played that game like it was nobody's business. I love those stages. I love the music. Oh, I will tell you, there's not a one game that comes close to making this my origin story of a gamer.
Wow, Damian. Wow. That's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Too bad you can never really become the Blue Burler. You're not even that fast in real life. And I mean, now your hips are giving out on you, so that's just really never gonna be a reality. But you know, good for you for having a dream. You know, I'm proud of you. As your friend, I can tell I'm proud of you that you came out to all these wonderful people that you dreamed of being Sonic. You furry freak! That's right, I said it. This guy wants to be Sonic. I'm gonna fucking kill him. Oh, God! So I've had a story about my first game ever and how special that was to me. I've had a story about a game that bridged that gap between my mother and I and welcoming her into my world as a gamer as well, and that was very special to me. So does number one also have a story attached to it? No, I think number one is just a fucking awesome game and hands down one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. And that is The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm the only person in the world that has this at their number one. I'm sure a majority of 90s kids would have this as their number one.
I don't.
Except for Damian, but you know, his list sucks. But for real, guys, it is such an awesome game. And let me tell you that I didn't play games like this as a kid. Going back to my Walmart story where I tried this game also as a demo, and I went out into Hyrule Field and then nighttime came and then like the Stalfos freaking came out of the ground and started attacking me, and I was like, holy shit, fucking zombies! Ain't no way I'm ever playing this game again, and I was terrified as a kid. Yet, the next time I went to Walmart, I played it again. And then the next time I played it again, even though it scared me. And I don't know what it was, but eventually I decided I had to go for it. I had to purchase this game, and so I asked my parents to purchase it for me. And it is by far one of the best decisions I ever made. I connected with the game so much. Again, adventure. I fucking love the adventure of it, traveling to all these different places. You're saving this world, this town of Hyrule. You're the hero, and then growing older, the 7-year skip. Freaking awesome. The first time I got to experience that, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Again, I didn't really go onto the internet to see any of this stuff. It's just things that I discovered for myself and was completely mind blown about it. All the things they say about the game are absolutely true. All the wonderful moments that jump out at you, that stick with you, are fucking fantastic. I love this game so much, and I just could not justify placing it any lower than number one. I don't have a touching story to go with it, and for that, you know, I apologize. I know it's kind of anticlimactic, but it doesn't matter, because to me, this is hands down my favorite game from the 90s. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Our individual top 10 favorite games from the 90s.
Mine was better.
Better at sucking. So
Better
definitely, guys,
at grabbing the audience's attention.
because it's seizure addict. So they're like, oh god, I can't look away.
But that's the best part.
You've killed our audience.
Don't you want?
You've killed our audience.
Think about it. This could go viral.
Yes, and mass murder everyone.
Hey, again, it can go viral. At least you'll get the views. That's what you want, right?
Well,
That's the whole
views-
point of this whole
views
show.
that we'll never view again.
That's the whole point of the whole show, Jan.
to kill people?
No, to get views. To get this, hey man, check it out. Oh my god,
This video
awesome.
sucks!
Hey man, I'm gonna share it right now.
And then people die. Anyway, guys, if you're still alive somehow, join me next week for my next Oscar review, where Damian will most definitely not be a part of.
I don't understand. I didn't want to be in the show in the first place. I just wanted to crash the party. That's all I want to do. Why did I get every time I do this? It makes me damn sense. All I want to do is live life.